What if I told you there's a surgery room that's been locked away for 100 years? A room so mysterious, no one has ever dared to enter. I found it, and what I uncovered inside could change everything you thought you knew about the past. This isn't just any room, it's forbidden. And now, I'm going to take you inside, where the truth is more terrifying than anything you can imagine. The hospital was abandoned, its walls covered in layers of grime, the air thick with the scent of rot. Every corner seemed to echo the silence of a bygone era. The years had taken their toll, with broken windows and cracked floors that creaked with every step. It was a place frozen in time, a forgotten monument to a past most people would rather leave buried. But there was one room that caught my attention, one room that didn't quite fit the decay surrounding it. It stood apart, almost as if it were deliberately hidden, shielded from the world outside. The atmosphere around that door was different. It was colder. The air felt dense, as though it didn't want to let anything in or out. There was something alive in that space, something that didn't belong to the rest of the hospital. The energy surrounding it was palpable, unsettling, almost suffocating. It was as if the room itself was watching, waiting for someone to finally open it. Rumors had swirled about this place for years. I wasn't the first person to be drawn to it. In fact, I learned that many had tried to uncover its secrets before, but something always stopped them. Some said the room was cursed. Others whispered of dark experiments conducted inside, experiments too dangerous to ever leave the confines of that forsaken place. The stories I heard were like whispers on the wind, spreading fear and uncertainty. But what if those rumors weren't just stories? What if they were warnings? As I stood before the door, a chill ran down my spine. I could hear faint sounds coming from behind it, scratching noises, whispers like a distant murmur just beyond my reach. The air seemed to vibrate with something I couldn't name. I stood there for a moment, unsure of what to do. I could have walked away, left it all behind, but the pull of the unknown was too strong. The curiosity gnawed at me, urging me to open the door and face whatever horrors might lie beyond. What would you do if you found a door that no one had opened for 100 years? Would you turn away, afraid of the dangers that might await? Or would you open it, driven by a need to know what's hidden inside, no matter the cost? I took a deep breath and unlocked the door. The moment I pushed it open, the temperature inside plummeted. It felt like stepping into a time capsule, a place untouched by the hands of time. My breath fogged in the cold air as I stepped over the threshold. The room was nearly empty, save for a few items scattered around. A single old operating table stood at the center, covered in dust. The surgical tools around it were rusted and worn, evidence of years of neglect. But there was something off about the place, something that made my skin crawl. The room felt wrong. I approached a cabinet filled with old medical records, some stacked neatly, while others lay scattered on the floor. As I sifted through the files, my stomach sank. Every name in the records was crossed out, every single one, except for one. My name. It was written there, in the last file. The words seemed to jump off the page, sending a wave of panic through me. How was it possible? How could my name be in this place? My mind raced as I tried to process what was happening. How could I be connected to a place like this? A room that had been locked away for so long? Was this some kind of twisted joke? Or was there something deeper at play? I couldn't stop myself from moving closer to the operating table. My heart pounded in my chest as I reached out to touch the cold metal. And that's when I saw it. Something that made my blood run cold. A surgical mask, lying on the edge of the table. It was stained with something dark, something that didn't look like blood. It looked like something worse. My mind raced with questions. What had happened here? What had been done in this room? And why was my name in those records? Suddenly, I felt dizzy, like the room itself was spinning. The walls seemed to close in on me, and the air grew thick with a presence I couldn't explain. I felt watched, trapped in a place where time had no meaning. Whatever had happened here was not over, and I was becoming a part of it. There was a force in that room, something sinister, and I could feel it growing stronger the longer I stayed. I tried to shake off the unease and continued flipping through the medical records, but then I heard it, a voice, low, quiet, almost a whisper, but unmistakable. "You shouldn't have come." My heart skipped a beat. I spun around, my hands shaking. The room was empty, just as it had been before. No one was there, but the voice had been so real, so close. It sent a shiver down my spine, and I had to fight the urge to run. I stared at the records again, trying to make sense of what was happening. That's when I found it, a picture. At first, I thought it was just another faded photograph, but when I unfolded it, my breath caught in my throat. The image was of a man, but it wasn't just any man, it was me, in surgical scrubs, standing next to the very operating table I had been investigating. The same table that now felt like it had been waiting for me. The picture wasn't just some random image. It was a memory of a moment that I couldn't remember. A moment I had never lived. How could this be? How could I have been there, in that place, standing beside the very table I was now examining? I had never been to this hospital. I had never seen this room before. And yet, there I was, looking back at me, just as confused and terrified as I felt in that moment. The lights in the room flickered, casting long, distorted shadows on the walls. The air felt thick, as if it was closing in on me. The very room seemed to be alive, breathing with an energy that made every hair on my body stand on end. My mind raced as I tried to understand what was happening. Was I dreaming? Was this some kind of hallucination? Or was there something darker at work here? I didn't know what to do. I wanted to run, to escape the room and never look back, but something held me there. Something in the room, in the very air, made it impossible to leave. And then I heard the whisper again, even louder this time. "You shouldn't have come." I turned to face the door, ready to flee, but my legs felt heavy, as if the room itself was holding me captive. My eyes went back to the photo, and I saw it. Something I hadn't noticed before. A date, written in red ink, just beneath my image. I couldn't make sense of it. What did it mean? Why was it there? I don't know what happened that night. All I know is that when I ran out of the room, I could still hear the whispers. I could feel the presence, lingering behind me, like something was following me. But the real nightmare began when I returned home. Every night, without fail, I see it. That same photo. It's always next to my bed, waiting for me when I wake up. At first, I tried to ignore it, to tell myself it was just a figment of my imagination. But then, I noticed something new. The date. It had changed. The red ink now looked darker, as if the number was bleeding into the photo. I tried everything to get rid of it. I hid the photo. I burned it. But no matter what I did, it always came back. Every morning, I woke up to find it waiting for me. Do you think this is some kind of curse? Or did I really step into a place that was never meant to be discovered? Maybe some things are better left hidden, forgotten. But now, I can't escape it. The past, the photo, the room, it's all coming for me. And I'm not sure I'll be able to outrun it. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you walk away from the unknown? Or would you open the door, knowing that whatever lies beyond could change your life forever? Let me know what you think. If you dare,